Kayla. I am a writer. I have released one poetry collection, which you can purchase on Amazon if you're interested, and I'm currently working on the first book in a duology. It is a high fantasy pirate portal book. It's called Between the Waves, and it's going to be the first of a duology. Soon I will have a website to direct you to, but I am sorting things out, and then maybe at some point I'll add a newsletter to that website and you'll be able to get updates, which will be fun. It is 2:30 on Friday, June the 14th. Let's just get everyone up to speed. I am finishing the third draft of Between the Waves in order to be able to send it out to beta readers next week. I put up a beta reader application form on Wednesday this week. I checked this morning. As of this morning, we have 59 applications for beta reading, which is quite a bit for me to start going through. So we're gonna go over the plan for the weekend. This entire weekend is pretty much gonna be dedicated to writing. I have one thing going on tomorrow night at the house that's like a social thing, but it's not gonna be until the night, and I have purposely not made any plans for this weekend specifically so that I can get this draft done. I've made this tracker, but as you can see, I haven't been the best at updating as far as like actual words go, but I have been updating the chapters. As you can see, chapter 15 still needs to be finished. It's only half done. That's because there are a couple things that I need to mention earlier on in the story that I think I'm going to make use of chapter 15 to do that. Chapter 21 is no longer colored in, and also this has been shifted because I've actually had to shift a few of the chapters. I had a new midpoint, but now that midpoint itself is actually, that scene is actually more of like the lead up to the midpoint. So because of that, that was chapter 20, which I edited. And chapter 21 is now actually blank because it's going to be a bit of a new midpoint, just because there are two things that I need to add into this story that's gonna like raise the stakes quite a bit for the midpoint. So I haven't actually written that yet, even though I know what's gonna happen. So then we have up until chapter 25 has been edited for context and kind of just like making sure that everything's lining up with the changes that I've made and the decisions that I've made. And then I have a few more chapters here that will be new scenes that I also have outlined already. So like I know what the scenes are, I know what purpose they're supposed to serve. They just need to be written now. And then these actually haven't been filled out yet, 31 to 34, because I have scenes in there right now. Like I have chapters copy and pasted into the Scrivener doc, but they're gonna shift. I was more so just copying them in so that I could get like a general word count idea, but they will be shifting, which is why I haven't written what they're going, like if I'm editing or adding a new scene yet, because I'm not sure. I won't even lie. There is a lot to do this weekend. Yesterday and for a lot of today, I am basically planning things out. Like I'm outlining a few chapters ahead and making sure that I'm not missing any like important pieces, and making sure that like I didn't lose characters, and I've mentioned certain plot lines often enough to like make them seem important to the story. What I've got in there right now is also sitting at about 58,000 words, I think, and I don't really know how to explain it because the Scrivener document feels like a mess right now. Like I look at it and it looks like just a mess to me, but I also know that each chapter that I'm missing, for example, I have an outline. I know what's going to go there. I just haven't written it yet. There are also a couple tiny little things that I still need to make decisions on when it comes to the end, but we're getting to the point where like it's so time sensitive now, like it's crunch time and I need to finish this, and I feel like this deadline is exactly what I needed to give myself in order to get this done, because even though there's still a lot to do, like I imagined that over this weekend I will be writing at least 10,000 new words, but we can do that. We've done that before in a single day, so I think spread out over the weekend is going to be okay. Any of the scenes that need to still be written have outlines, except for a few at the end, like I mentioned, because the ending is, to be totally honest, the ending has never fully been completed. Like the ending has never been solid, which I do think is like a huge reason for why this draft has been so has taken so long is because of the lack of that ending. But yeah, I'm estimating we'll be writing a minimum of 10,000 words this weekend. A lot of it will be in the scenes that I've already outlined, plus I'm going to be adding a couple scenes that are not outlined yet, but I have like a one-word description of what's supposed to happen. And they're specifically having to do with the romance arc, because that's something that I'm learning still. Having like romance story beats is different than having like fantasy story beats, which is what I'm used to. Like there's an entire arc that romantic relationships are supposed to go through, and this is something that I'm fairly new at, even though I love reading about it. So yeah, write the ending, finish writing the scenes that haven't been finished, add a couple scenes and or moments, some of them are just moments, they won't be full scenes, that add to the romantic arc. And then I'm not gonna have time for a read through, but I am gonna kind of scan and just try and make sure I haven't missed anything for the beta readers. But this weekend, I also need to update my beta reader questionnaire. I have one from a story that I worked on previously a few years ago, but this one is going to need to be updated because this manuscript has different problems than the other manuscript that it was used for. So I'm gonna have to update it to better serve this manuscript. It's going to be a busy weekend, but the past couple days I've definitely put a lot of work into prepping to get some big word counts this weekend and to get these final scenes written and make sure that everything is as ready as it can possibly be before it goes to beta readers. And I also need to actually pick my beta readers. So because there's nearly 60 people who have applied, I'm probably going to go through tonight and like pick my top 10, and then I'll sleep on it, and then tomorrow I'll decide on 3 to 5, and I'll reach out to them and just make sure that they're still keen to start. Like I said, I might move the start date to Wednesday and just see if people are okay with that. But at the same time, I'm hesitant to do that because keeping this deadline has been so helpful for me that I don't want to start moving it, just in case it stops tricking my brain if I'm able to move it. Because I feel like that's why it's worked. I've tricked my brain into believing that it's like an unmovable deadline, and that is what has really like lit a fire under my ass to get me going. And I'm hesitant to, I don't want to move it and then my brain be like, oh wait, so this isn't official, we can just move this however we want. So okay, now I'm cold. That is the plan for the weekend. This is going to be a weekend writing vlog, but I apologize in advance if it turns into just a whole bunch of clips of me typing and then check-ins every once in a while, but that might be what it is because that's pretty much all I'm doing. Okay, I just got back from a cafe. I did a little bit of work. I'm feeling tired. It's like 3:30, maybe 4 p.m. Yeah, it's 4 p.m. But I've also told myself that I'm not allowed any more caffeine because I've already had a big cup of coffee this morning and then a very large latte, and I need to tone it down with the caffeine. But I've written over 3,000 words today. I've also started listening to a new podcast because I was kind of just looking for like inspiration around story endings, or rather some like technical craft discussions around story endings, just because that's the part that I'm currently at, and that's the part that as we've known, I'm struggling with quite a bit. And this book needs to go to beta readers in less than 48 hours, so it's gonna have to end somehow. I'll put the writing podcast here. If you're interested, I've listened to a couple episodes so far and I'm really enjoying it, so definitely check it out if you're interested in like writing craft discussions. But I'm home now. I think I'm gonna watch the last episode of Bridgerton, which I've been watching since it came out earlier this week, and paint my nails probably, and then I honestly might take a nap. So that's how it's going. I feel like I've been waiting all weekend for it to rain, which I know sounds insane because I live in Vancouver. It rains often, and yeah, sometimes I do get tired of the rain, but when I'm like focusing on writing and I have crunch time like this, I just love writing when it's raining and moody and like the weather's crappy out. It's so funny because I had like a brief conversation with a friend over Instagram about how like we're already excited for the fall weather, which is so funny because it's June. And I mean, especially in Vancouver, I just know that there will be moments in the winter when I'm just sick and tired of the rain, but I just love it. I just love the moodiness. Something makes me feel like fall feels so emotional to me and I love it. So anyways, it's Sunday. I need to get out of the house because the writing is just not happening in the house. So we're gonna go and try and find a cafe to work at. And maybe I'll update you later because it's starting to rain harder and I feel like you probably can't hear me very well. The construction across the street is really getting to me. It's been so loud, so hopefully they refrain from hammering while I close off this video. No, not gonna happen. So I contacted the beta readers this morning. I ended up picking 6, which I'm just gonna be totally transparent. 6 is too many. Six is, well, maybe it won't be, but for Blood of Amberum, I picked 5 and that was a lot of feedback. So like I even told myself I'm gonna pick less next time, I'll pick 3. It'll be much better. And then everyone was so wonderful. The responses were incredible. Everyone was so sweet and I just couldn't help but pick 6. So for better or for worse, I've sent it out, not the draft. That's the other update. I've reached out to the beta readers to let them know that I've picked them if they're still keen to continue, and also to let them know that I have to delay sending the draft. So I'm gonna send it on Thursday instead of today, which was the initial goal, because the ending is not done. I talked about it a bit more in depth in my Patreon update that I just posted this morning, but I did get writing done. I got a lot of planning done and like brainstorming this weekend, but a lot of it was spent going back and forth trying to decide whether or not to like basically add a brand new character. I still feel like that might have to happen. This character I think can serve a really great purpose for the main character, but it just got to the point where over the weekend I was doing so much planning for it and I was like, this makes sense. I think this is the way that it's gonna have to go, but because of the timeline I've given myself and my determination to not delay more than a week, which is also what I put in the beta reader form, to be fair, I'm not going, I just don't have time to add in that character and make that plot line work right now. Basically, like all of yesterday was me journaling, trying to figure out if I should do that or if I should not. Eventually came to the conclusion that I should not because I just don't have the time to add a whole new character, and I have this feeling that maybe I'm just second guessing myself because I'm way too close to the story and I've been working on it for 2.5 years and my brain really can't see the forest from the trees right now, and therefore it makes more sense for me to just write the ending based on the current plot line and based on the 55,000 words that I've already written in the draft. Write the ending based on that as best I possibly can, send it to beta readers, and then I've got 6 beta readers. Like if the issues that I believe exist, that I believe I can fix by adding this other character, actually do exist, the beta readers will tell me. I trust them, I have chosen them, and I feel really good about them, and I have to believe that they will tell me. If the issue that I think is an issue is happening, then they'll notice. And that's something that I'm gonna mention in the questionnaire as well, which I still need to do. I think I'm going to include a question, honestly, or a prompt, I guess, that mentions that I'm worried about the lack of conflict and a bit of an issue with pacing that I think could be solved with this character. And I'm gonna mention that to see what they think, because that's the whole point. This is where we become a team. I get to start sharing with other people, and I have to start believing in them as well. So that's where we're at. Thank you so much if you applied to be a beta reader. We ended up getting 69 applications, so thank you so much for applying, and also just for the comments that people left. I was like reading through the responses and just crying because of how sweet and supportive everyone was and how excited everyone was. All right, it's gonna be a freaking busy week. Thank you all so much for being with me on this journey and for believing in me and my book. And yeah, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.